Jeffrey "Jeff" Hunter was an American film and television actor and producer. Hunter is known for his roles as the sidekick to John Wayne's character in The Searchers, as Jesus Christ in the biblical film King of Kings, and as Captain Christopher Pike in the original pilot episode of Star Trek, and appears in archival footage in the series' only two-part episode, The Menagerie. Early life. Hunter was born Henry Herman Hank McInnes, Jr., in New Orleans, Louisiana, and after 1930 reared in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where he graduated from Whitefish Bay High School. He began acting in local theater and radio in his early teens. He served stateside in the United States Navy in World War II, then from 1946 to 1949 studied theater at Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois. Acting career. In 1950, while he was a graduate student in radio at UCLA and appearing in a college play, Hunter was spotted by talent scouts and offered a 2-year motion picture contract by 20th Century Fox that was eventually extended to 1959. He made his film debut in a bit part in 1950's Julius Caesar. He later graduated to starring roles in Red Skies of Montana and Sailor of the King, alone out to co-star with John Wayne in the title roles of the now classic western The Searchers. Began the first of 3 pictures he made with director John Ford, the other 2 being The Last Hurrah starring Spencer Tracy and as lawyer Tom Cantrell in Sergeant Rutledge. The same year as The Searchers, Hunter also co-starred with top-billed Fess Parker in Walt Disney's The Great Locomotive Chase, based on an actual 1862 historical event during the American Civil War. Ironically, according to Parker's Archive of American Television interview, Ford had originally wanted to cast Parker in Hunter's role in The Searchers, but Disney refused to loan him out, something Parker didn't hear about until years later. Parker referred to his loss of that part to Jeffrey Hunter as his single biggest career setback. Ford also recommended Hunter to director Nicholas Ray for the role of Jesus Christ in King of Kings, a difficult part met by critical reaction that ranged from praise to ridicule. Joining an all-star cast in the World War II battle epic The Longest Day, Hunter provided a climactic heroic moment playing a sergeant who is killed while leading a successful attempt to breach the defense wall atop Omaha Beach in Normandy. Having guest-starred on television dramas since the mid-1950s, Hunter was then offered a 2-year contract by Warner Brothers studio boss Jack Webb that included starring as circuit-riding Texas lawyer Temple Lee Houston, the youngest son of Sam Houston, in the NBC series Temple Houston, which Hunter's production company co-produced. Jack Elam was his co-star, as gunslinger-turned-marshal George Taggart. Hunter described the Temple Houston that he sought to emulate as having many sides to his character. He was a flamboyant orator, he was a bit of a dandy, he was tough, he was gentle, he was an excellent marksman, all features which gave the series greater latitude with a Western format. Houston was also described as follows: he would ride, shoot, fight, drink, and love with the best of them and maybe better than most. The modesty that he displays in day-to-day life would disappear as soon as he enters a courtroom, becoming the flamboyant attorney famous throughout the American Southwest. Temple Houston proved illusory for his long-term career prospects. Hunter thought that the series had found its voice beginning with the 12th episode, Enough Rope, by having adopted the light-hearted approach of ABC's former Maverick Western series, with James Garner. As Hunter explained the change in format, the series was conceived in humor and delivered in dead seriousness. Then, about halfway through the season, NBC decided to return to the tongue-in-cheek approach. By that time it was too late. The big joke around town was that the series was about a synagogue in Texas. Ruta Lee, who guest-starred as Lucy Toliver in Enough Rope, said of Hunter, "He was one of the prettiest people that ever was put on the screen. God, he was gorgeous. Another Hunter friend, actor Vane Williams, a native of Fort Worth, who also guest starred in the series, said, "Things didn't go right for him, and they should have, because if anybody deserved to be a big star, it was Jeffrey Hunter." In taking the Temple Houston role, Hunter was compelled by a scheduling conflict to bow out of John Ford's final Western film, Cheyenne Autumn. Although Temple Houston did not survive beyond 26 weeks, Hunter accepted the lead role of Captain Christopher Pike in The Cage, the first pilot episode of Star Trek. Clegg Hoyt, Hunter's co-star in The True Story of Jesse James, appeared in this pilot as Pitcairn, the transporter chief of the fictitious US Enterprise. Hunter declined to film a second Star Trek pilot requested by NBC in 1965, and decided to concentrate on motion pictures such as Brainstorm. Footage from the original pilot was subsequently adapted into a two-part episode titled The Menagerie. Later that year, Hunter filmed the pilot for another NBC series, the espionage thriller Journey into Fear, which the network did not pick up. With the demise of the studio contract system in the early 1960s and the outsourcing of much feature production, Hunter, like many other leading men of the 1950s, found work in B-movies produced in Italy, Hong Kong, and Mexico, with the occasional television guest part in Hollywood. Personal life. Hunter's first marriage from 1950 to 1955 to actress Barbara Rush produced a son, Christopher. From 1957 to 1967, Hunter was married to model Dusty Bartlett. He adopted her son, Steele, and the couple had two other children, Todd and Scott. In February 1969, he married actress Emily McLaughlin, to whom he remained married until his death only 3 months later. While in Spain in April 1969 to film Cry Chicago, a story of the Chicago Mafia, Hunter was injured in an on-set explosion when a car window near him, which had been rigged to explode outward, accidentally exploded inward. Hunter sustained a serious concussion. According to Hunter's wife Emily, he went into shock on the plane ride back to the United States after filming and couldn't speak. He could hardly move. After landing, Hunter was taken to Good Samaritan Hospital in Los Angeles, but doctors could not find any serious injuries save for a displaced vertebra and a concussion. He fell, knocked over a planter, and struck his head on a banister, fracturing his skull. He was found unconscious by his wife and taken to Valley Presbyterian Hospital, where he underwent brain surgery to repair his injuries. He died at about 9:30 a.m. the following morning at the age of 42. Hunter's funeral was held at St. Mark's Episcopal Church in Van Nuys on May 31, after which he was interred at Glen Haven Memorial Park, in Silmar, California. Filmography.